Now, many of you have been taught that faith is about patiently waiting for your desire, right? Do not take action to make anything happen. But what if I told you that for many of you, your apparent patience or playing it cool is simply you wearing a pretty little mask that is hiding a whole host of insecurities. And as a result of that, this is why many people do not experience the results that they want. They will not experience their wishes fulfilled, because they're engaging in something that they don't realize what's going on at the deeper core of it. You see, it's not about what you do and what actions you do take or don't take. It's about the identity behind it. And it's this key misunderstanding that results in success or failure. It's the key difference between the person that's on this journey for what seems like an eternity without getting anywhere and people who actually see results. So in the next few moments on this glorious, hot, sunny Friday afternoon, if you spend some time with me, I'm going to help you to understand why your urge to act is not your enemy. And you're going to walk away, by the time I'm done with you, you're going to walk away with a really brutally effective tool that is going to tell you 100% absolute certainty whether your next move is coming from your sovereign power or coming from needy desperation, okay? So if you are feeling paralyzed, if you've ever had those thoughts of, you know, what am I doing? Am I doing it wrong? Or is this going to ruin my manifestation? What action should I take? This video is for you and it's going to clear up a whole host of things. So welcome everyone. Welcome you amazing, wonderful alchemists, you master coders of this deep code of manifestation. It's wonderful to have you here. Happy Friday. Now, you know how we do it in this on this channel. So if you haven't done so already, grab yourself a hot drink or a cool drink if it happens to be a hot day. Cheers, everyone. Get your notebooks at the ready too. I want you to take some notes. This is all about imparting information that is going to be useful and applicable. And for those of you who do take part, actively take notes, actively listen, you are the elite manifestors. And of course, that's why so many of you are getting such amazing results. We have a very high success rate on this channel, considering our numbers here are small. That's because you're all at the elite level. So cheers to all of you elite manifestors. Wow, that is cold. You don't realize you have sensitive teeth until you drink something as cold as that, because I'm drinking it from my flask or whatever that is. It stayed really cold. Oh dear, so get ready, get prepared, take yourself some notes, because I'm going to be dropping loads of juicy gems your way in this video, because today I'm going to dismantle a piece of dogma that is so pervasive in this community, and it has single-handedly kept thousands of you stuck in a state of powerless, anxious waiting. And sometimes that powerless, anxious waiting is masquerading as confidence or content. But we're going to uncover it all. So you're ready to break some rules. You're ready to drop those juicy gems. You're ready. Special shout out as well to Rieta, my Papua New Guinea friend, and Catherine as well. I see you guys in the comments. And I love the notes that you took from last time too. Many of you have been taking some incredible notes. Thank you very much for doing that. Continue to do so. So let's address this. I mean, the reason that I got inspired to make this video was that the amount of time I get people asking me questions about, should I take this action, shouldn't I, right? And it makes sense. I think there's a lot of messages out there that often tell you, like, do nothing, let go and let God, let the universe deliver it to you, like you're waiting for some sort of pizza delivery, right, to come your way. So of course, when you hear these sorts of statements being thrown around, it's quite understandable that you will feel like, okay, I better not mess, I better not take any action. And I understand, like, trust me, that inner debate that a lot of you guys are having, I know, I've been there. The last 24 years that I've been on this journey, you think I haven't? I have been there. And still occasionally sometimes do find myself there. You know, that typical thing of, like if you're manifesting an SP, it's always the typical, oh, should I reach out to my SP? I've had that question asked before, it's their birthday, should I wish them a happy birthday? But then what if that's the wrong move? Like, what if that's the wrong move and I ruin everything, shock, horror? Or if it's like the career stuff, it's like, okay, I've set my intention for that career. Should I be applying for jobs? What am I supposed to do? Should I just kind of sit back and do nothing and let the job come to me? So you've always got these constant nagging questions going on, like what action should you take? Because you don't want to ruin it, right? You don't want to take the wrong action. And this is actually the wrong question. This is not the question that we should be asking ourselves. Is this the right action? But I'll go into that in a bit. Because for many of you who are doing nothing, it's ended up being the most destructive action. Because doing nothing, like making the first move, not making the first move, that's still taking an inspired action. So either way, doing nothing, repressing what you feel naturally you want to do, can be the most destructive action you could possibly take. Because remember this, faith without works is dead. And right now, many of you are attending the funeral of your own manifestation without even realizing that you're doing it. So if you're sitting there feeling paralyzed by fear half the time, by what sort of action you should take, I mean, congratulations, then that means that whoever has been teaching you this and has instilled this fear into you, their programming has worked perfectly. But what I'm going to do is we're going to jailbreak you out of this, right? Because it's not nice to be in that state of anxiety where you're constantly questioning yourself, and you shouldn't have to. You're here to command your reality, right? Not be some beggar to it. So for many people, this sort of doctrine of passivity is not actually a sign of their faith in their manifestation. I know, because when I work with a lot of people, I'm listening to their language. So on a conscious level, they can say a lot of the right things about how they feel. And yes, I've been feeling this and I feel more confident and I'm affirming my self-worth and values, so they're going to come to me, right? But underneath it all, as they continue to speak and the subconscious mind comes forward, I can tell that a lot of it is coming from insecurities, and they're just trying to be passive from a state of fear. And the universe isn't waiting for you to be passive in any way. It's waiting for you to take command on the subconscious level. And I've lived, like I say, in that prison of passivity before. There was a while back, so I know I've manifested numerous outcomes, particularly with specific people. I think that was actually the manifestation I find the most easiest, and it's because it's one I've always engaged in, whether it's, like I say, a specific person, could be your boss, could be family members, could be people you want a relationship. At one point, there was this guy that I liked, and my intention with him actually was just to go on a few dates. Didn't really want a relationship or anything. I wanted to just connect with him, little crush. And I remember I'd set that intention, and he was beautiful, by the way, so I had a lot of anxiety around that because I was so stunning, so I just put him up on the pedestal. But anyway, as I was walking home, his workplace is on my way home, and it's a Sunday and it's quite late on a Sunday, so you don't expect anyone to be there, right? We're all supposed to be resting. However, his car was outside, and I suddenly got this urge to message him, because I would have done that with anyone, right? Any of my friends, anyone that I know, like, what the hell are you doing on a Sunday? Like, it's your day of rest. Why are you working so late on a Sunday? But then I recall, as I was walking, I started to question myself. I did fall into that trap. Had the voice in my head sort of telling me, no, you can't do that. You're going to be chasing, you're going to ruin things, let him come to you, sort of thing. You set the intention, you're in your power, right? And I started to feel really fearful and powerless. I was suddenly convinced of being a beggar to my reality, and I forgot myself in that moment. So I carried on walking, and I was holding the phone in my hand, I remember. And then as I got closer to my house, I snapped out of that programming, and I thought to myself, what the hell am I doing? I know how I feel, I know what state I'm in, because as I continued to walk, I embodied my state again, because that's a good time to do it, right? Passive imagining technique that I've shared with you guys how to do. I'll share it again in the description box. Stepped into that state, and I thought, well, no, sod it. This is natural me. This is what I would do. And so I did. I sent the message, and we ended up having a bit of a to and fro, a bit of a laugh, and I ended up getting my dates out of it. It was a perfect unfolding. because his car had to be there for a reason. I had to walk at that particular time to see his car, to then be compelled to message him, that then set the bridge of incidents into motion for us to end up having those dates. Do you see? It wasn't coming out of maliciousness or worry. If I was there thinking, no, I'm going to play it cool, I'm not going to message him first, God knows when those dates would have materialized. And if I was playing it cool out of fear and trying to convince myself of my power, I would have delayed that probably indefinitely. So we have to remember that manifestation is not a spectator sport and shouldn't be treated as such. It's a full contact creative endeavor. So I want to use one of our core principles, because manifestation is not a magic trick that you perform. And I'm going to keep on saying this. It's not some sort of trick I perform where I do these wonderful magical techniques and bam, my whole reality changes and that, right? What's happening, the mechanics of it, is that manifestation is a natural byproduct of the identity that you embody. That's your juicy gem, okay, jot it down. That identity shift is so truly important. Manifestation, it's a constant reflection, it's constantly happening, just like gravity. There's not, oh, that's a result of gravity, but that isn't a result of gravity. No, everything is held down as a result of gravity, right? Everything that's happening around me now is manifest, is existing through me. Where is it happening? It's happening through my awareness, okay? So your thoughts and your impulses, therefore, are not the enemy. They're the living, breathing evidence of your current identity. So you've got to ask yourself, when anyone tries to teach you to suppress or to fight your thoughts and your feelings, just ask yourself why. Why am I doing that, right? Because if that is the evidence of my state, then why am I not just using my thoughts and my feelings as a diagnostic tool to direct me as to what needs to change? What beliefs do I harbor that no longer work for me? See, people are constantly asking about how do they know if they've truly changed their state? And my answer is always the same. You know, that old anxiety goes quiet, and your thoughts and your feelings and the way you perceive the world around you completely changes. I had that once again with a client yesterday, and I know I've promised, and I will do if I can. You know, I'm not that great with technology, so it's taken me a while to try and edit down some of the sessions that I've had with people, so that A, not to give too much away because it is a personal session, and B, just to give you that key area where they've changed states. You can hear in their voice the energy is different. Half the time they're in shock. They're like, wow. Because it does feel like a quantum shift. You look around and suddenly it's like, so that's like what I was saying to my client yesterday. You don't even recognize your own reality, your own story anymore, do you? She just didn't. It was just like, wow. And a lot of silence as she was processing everything and realizing like the cogs were turning. And sometimes it can be a very natural, subtle shift where we're not like, wow, I don't recognize my reality anymore. We're just looking at things differently. But that inner anxiety melts away. And that's a really common thing, right? That inner anxiety melts away, and I'm not really questioning what I'm doing, what I'm thinking anymore. That internal peace and clarity is a new reality that's being born inside you at that moment. So the problem itself has never been the actions that you take. The problem has been acting out of a state of lack. So when you truly shift your state, the action that follows is no longer chasing. It's simply the natural movement of the new you. And that natural movement of the new you might look like you're the one who texts us first. You're the one who asks them out first. You're the one who initiates. It might look like that. Or it might look like them reaching out to you first, them doing it first. And I know, like, many of us have quite strong opinions about and it's not just specific person manifestations, but I mean anything that you're manifesting. Some of us do have strong opinion about, okay, I'm not going to look. Now that's fine if that's your inspired action. I want them to reach out first, because I've had manifestations like that too. But if it's coming from a place of anxiety, like I need them to reach out first because I need to be validated because I feel insecure, that's when it's a problem. Do you see there's a difference here? So the great masters taught you, what did they teach you? Right? What did Neville Goddard teach us? You must assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, right? And I want to address this because this is where all of this not taking action, this is where it stemmed from, I believe anyway. And tell me as well, what point did you guys think too that, oh yeah, we shouldn't take action, we shouldn't, were there other quotes, were there other things that were being said? But I know this is a popular one. You do nothing to make it happen, right? Have any of you heard that one from Neville? But that is something that's like taken out of context of hundreds of his lectures and books, right? Context is everything. You do nothing on the outside to make it happen. Listen closely to that. You do nothing on the outside to make it happen. Do you guys get it? Do you guys get what that means now? I leave the outside world alone. The work is internal. I do nothing on the outside to make it happen because the work is all internal. That means that I don't take action on the outside to change my state. I take action from the inside. I change my state within. That's the big difference here. Do you get it? So it's not about not taking action, because you will be moved just like everyone in your reality is being moved. That's why, and I always revert back to this story because it's such a good example. That grandfather who was, many people thought, oh, wait, he's chasing the grandma. He asked her out like whatever it was 7 times. That success story that my viewer had shared of how her grandparents had got together. People thought, yeah, but he kept asking her out. He got his result. Why? Because he wasn't asking out of neediness. His attitude was, she doesn't realize it yet, but she's the woman I'm going to marry. And he was right. And they spend their entire lives together, happily married. So this is why the action is not important. The energy behind the action is what matters. So how can you tell the difference? How can you tell if the action you're taking is from that state of sovereign power or is from a state of lack? I'm going to give you this little test to try out for yourselves, okay? And I'm going to call it the sovereign action test. Let's give it a fancy name, shall we? This is going to be your diagnostic tool to figuring all of this out. So are you ready? Jot this down. Question 1. We're going to ascertain what the emotional source is of this urge. So what is my emotional, like what is the emotional source for this urge that I have right now, whatever this action is, whether it's to go on the job hunt, whether it's to, I don't know, reach out to this person first. What's the emotional source of it? Is it coming from a place of neediness, fear, lack? Even if I'm sitting back and playing cool, is that coming from a place of a lack of confidence, needs their validation, they've got to come begging to me? Or is it coming from a place of sovereign confidence, fun, maybe a feeling of determination, or maybe a feeling of inspiration? Okay, so that's the first question you ask yourself. The second question is, how much is your internal state, and this is really important, how much is your internal state dependent on this outcome? i.e., are you acting to get a feeling of relief or validation, like I've mentioned throughout? Because if you are, that's chasing. See, the grandfather in that success story, he wasn't doing it because he was chasing. Every time their paths crossed, he knew it was a matter of time. He asked again. It was brazen impudence, right? So are you acting out of chasing, or are you acting because your state of being is already secure regardless of their response? Just like the grandfather. He didn't go, oh my God, she has rejected me, this has all failed, and his whole self-concept crashed around. It sounded like, when I was reading that story out to you guys, and tell me what you think, those of you who remember it, it's in my Success Stories playlist. I got the impression that his attitude was kind of like, I don't know, it was almost like he was having fun with it. Like he was just like, okay, I'm getting on with my life, but it's just a matter of time before she catches up. That's the impression I got. I think he even said something like that. So do you get me? So that's like that's the key difference here. Now, this is the crystal clear, and I'm going to emphasize this just to be crystal clear on the distinction that no one really talks about. And sometimes we have to understand, sometimes the most powerful sovereign action is actually to do nothing at all. Sometimes it is. But remember, even not taking action is an inspired action. So what always matters is the state. So if you run the test and your urge to act is coming from a place of neediness, then what I want you to do is to take inspired action. And that inspired action is not to send the text in that moment. It's not to make the call. The inspired action is to turn inwards and to reinforce the new identity until that needy impulse dissolves. So inaction, when it comes from a place of sovereign self-possession and a refusal essentially to act out of a state of lack, that is going to be just as powerful as taking that external step. Is that clear as well? You see, the bridge of events for every single one of you is going to be extremely personal. That's why when I share success stories, I always ask you guys, please do not compare your bridges of events to someone else's. You use people's success stories as a source of inspiration as to what is possible, and perhaps we can learn from some of the things that we say, but don't ever make comparison. You see, for example, and if I remember to share all these links, my manifestation of weight loss, which I just did a little one again, and I'd lost I've gotten to my ideal weight, but you know, my bridge of events, it's always the same sort of thing. I have set an intention, I have assumptions about having a fast metabolism. And I had an annoying, sneaky assumption, and it seems like that's still prevalent to a point, that weight loss happens easy, particularly if I'm stressed or if I'm ill, right? So my weight loss journey didn't consist of me doing anything. I ate whatever the hell I wanted. In fact, I ate worse than I was eating when I was trying to diet. I didn't do any going to the gym, excessive exercise. My action was all internal, and my embodiment was fast metabolism and stress sometimes, which meant that my bridge actually was quite stressful in terms of caused me a lot of stress and anxiety, and the weight just dropped off. Now, someone else, because that's a manifestation, I got to my ideal weight. Now, someone else will be setting the same intention, but they might have a different set of assumptions and beliefs, which means that they might feel compelled to. If they've been programmed by society of, okay, healthy eating and going to the gym or doing this diet or doing that diet is what's going to help me to shed the weight, they're going to take action. They're going to change how they're eating. They're going to spend more hours at the gym. That's going to get them the result, right? And so they reach the end and they get to the result. It's not a case of one is a manifestation because I took no action and it just happened effortlessly, and the other one took a lot of effort and a lot of discipline, so that doesn't count as a manifestation. Both are manifestations. Both are expressions of my identity and this other person's identity. Do you see different identities having different experiences, but we've manifested the same result? Both are successful manifestations, okay? So it doesn't matter who texts first. It doesn't matter if you had to go to the gym to lose that weight. It doesn't matter if you won the car or if you got a loan to get the car. These are all successful manifestations. The action is irrelevant. It's the identity from which you act or don't act. That is what counts. That is everything. This test that I have given you, those two-part questions, it's your key, and it directly answers a brilliant question from someone was asking me, right, this fake Megatron. Again, I love the names that you guys come up with. Yeah, I'm calling you out, babe. Because you were saying as well about handling the anxiety. For example, say if you're in close proximity, if it is a specific person you're manifesting and you're in close proximity, you work with them or you happen to see them every day or they're part of the same friendship group. You know, you don't know how to act around this person. Take part in this test. Run that two-question test. Focus within. Focus on the identity. And then take whatever action you want from that identity. That's it. That's all you need to do. That's going to give you back your power. That's going to give you back clarity. And no matter what action you take, especially from that correct state, you can never ruin it. And if you do manage to take an action which was from the wrong state of being, that's okay. Don't give yourself a hard time. Right, brush myself off, realize what I've done, I learned from it, I'm not going to do that again. let me occupy the right state so that now on I take all of the right necessary actions, because I can't ruin it past the point of it never happening, right? So this is what's really important to remember. And by the way, if you want to discuss more about these things, this is what I do every single week in my workshops, in the live sessions that we hold on Discord, the Q&A, the private community. So you don't have to navigate through this all on your own if you want to discuss some more and ask me any questions about it. If you're looking for direct feedback, that's the place where it happens, okay? Links again in the description. But this system, I promise you, it really does work, and it is important to understand what you identify as, where you're working from. Remember, it's acting from the state and not thinking of it and it's something separate to you. Everything that you do has to be from the correct identity, have the right energy, the right frequency, the right, whatever you want to call it, mindset, the right state, the right vibration. It all means the same thing. So I'll share with you an example, a little story to just sum everything up. There's a client of mine. I have to be careful how I speak about her because she is a very successful manifestation coach, whereas she has a very high following. So there was a particular area she was struggling with, because look, everyone is human, right? We're all going to have areas that we particularly struggle with, and for her it was relating to her marriage. Now, you never would guess it from seeing her, but yeah, she was having issues with her marriage. And by the way, she has given me permission to mention it as an example, but obviously to protect her identity. So she said to me that she was stuck in that doing nothing. She didn't realize she was doing it. See, another reason I wanted to do this video. So what she was doing was she was doing what she knows best. As the relationship was breaking down with her husband for numerous reasons, and I think at this point as well, they had separated, well, not officially, but he wasn't living in the home with her at that point. So she was like, I'm not going to reach out to him. You know, I've been affirming my worth. I've been affirming my value. He's going to reach out to me. He's missing me. He's obsessed with me, right? She's doing all of that. And it wasn't clicking for her. And her refusal to reach out to him actually wasn't coming from that state of sovereignty. That's how I knew that it was off. She was waiting for him to prove her value, even though she was, all her affirmations was about him being obsessed and he misses me and he reaches out to me, right? It was all about him doing to prove her value. She didn't actually have the value within her installed on a subconscious level. So I installed the identity with her of feeling cherished, of feeling secured, of realizing that actually he had done everything in this relationship to try and show her love and appreciation. And it was her identity of insecurity that meant that no matter what he did, she was never able to fully accept this love and appreciation. She wanted more, she needed more validation. It was never going to be enough. And of course, this is what eventually broke things off. She was feeling more resentful, more hurt, pulling her energy back. And of course, he's mirroring and doing the same until it led to this outcome. So when we had shifted her state, first of all, she was like, wow. But secondly, she realized that resentment that she had, where she wanted him to apologize, want him to come to her, that dropped away as well, because she realized how much she was loved all along. If anything, she started to feel a little bit bad about how she had been towards him in the whole situation. So she changed her attitude. And she had messaged me, and if I remember, I'll screenshot the message. You can see she had messaged me about how she felt this natural urge to nurture him now, and a natural urge to actually reach out to him. And it wasn't because she was feeling needy at all. She actually felt very powerful in that moment because she felt very secure and loved. And that version of her realized that it was important for her to reach out. And of course, that helped because he needed it as well. He needed to see that it wasn't just him putting in, that she was interested too. It was specific to their situation, right? But things have moved really quickly for her. And it's because she stopped waiting for him to validate her. And she became the woman who was effortlessly loved in that moment and believed it on a subconscious level. She accepted that. So you see how much things can change. Just be aware of what you're doing, because it's not just her, it's many people that I've worked with that I've noticed, and men in particular do this too. I guess you guys are maybe used to got to suppress and got to act a certain way and got to play it cool. Dating coaches are teaching you to do that, right? Don't text first, or don't text straight away, or leave a bit of a delay before you reply. Don't fall into that trap. It's about your identity. It's not about what you do. So you're simply participating, all of you, simply participating in the beautiful unfolding of your creation. You're all participating in this beautiful unfolding of your creation right now. Enjoy it. Immerse yourself in it. Be true to yourself through it. Stop fearing your own power. Stop fearing your life, fearing your actions, fearing your thoughts. You're not here to be a passive spectator. You're here to be the lead architect of your reality. That's what you all are, the architects of your reality, the alchemists, the master coders, whatever. Should we find ourselves a name so we feel we've got more of a purpose? Anyway, I hope that made sense and helped a lot of you guys out who are concerned about whether you should take action, what's inspired action, what's not inspired action. And if you want to join our Discord and engage in more and ask any more questions and whatever, we're here to support you. I love you guys. Thank you so much as always for being here. Big hugs, and I'll see you in the next video.